Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My amendment strikes funding for overseas humanitarian disaster and civic aid program. My amendment strikes $115 million in foreign aid funding to the overseas humanitarian disaster and civic aid programs of the Department of Defense. The War Department. You see, the United States government is not a charity, and the American people are some of the most generous people in the world, all by themselves, without the government taking their hard-earned tax dollars and sending it to wherever they want. You see, this account funds 3 different programs. Humanitarian assistance helps nations with disaster preparedness, public health support, basic infrastructure support. Humanitarian Mine Action Program provides assistance to nations to help them safely eliminate unexploded mines. Disaster relief supports disaster relief in foreign countries. 2023 and 2024, the department provided support for responses in Haiti, Turkey, northern Syria, Philippines, Libya, and Gaza. And while we're compassionate to people around the world suffering from national disasters and many other issues, think of our own national disasters and problems that we face here in our own homeland. Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton, the Lahaina wildfires, the LA wildfires, the Texas flooding, the opioid epidemic, and in northwest Georgia, the drinking water is also polluted with forever chemicals. These are the issues that the American people care about. These are the issues that the American people pay their taxes for, and $115 million shouldn't be sent to go sit in an account somewhere, ready to go pay money off to every foreign country and every foreign country need. We're $37 trillion in debt, and I cannot believe that we can't cut spending here in this body that has created that debt. Mr. Speaker, I reserve.
The gentlelady from Georgia reserves. For what purpose does the gentleman from Washington seek recognition?
To claim the time in opposition.
The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
I yield myself 2 minutes.
The gentleman is recognized.
I think basically what this amendment says, as the gentlelady was saying, we are a compassionate nation. She's saying she wishes we weren't, basically. We need to stop being a compassionate nation. And this is $115 million. I will remind everybody that the budget bill that the gentlelady and the sponsor of this amendment voted for added $4 trillion to the debt. Why don't we start there? There's a basic argument here. Why does the U.S. engage in foreign aid? There's 4 real arguments to that. Number 1, economics. We, again, are the most economically powerful nation in the world. We have the largest economy. We've benefited the most. If we can help other countries generate economies, we have access to those markets. They will buy our stuff. It grows our economy. It has worked spectacularly well for 80 years. Number 2, disease and health. Sadly, those things don't know borders. Ebola, a variety of different other diseases can spread and come back here. So if we work with the rest of the world to prevent it before it comes here, that is to our benefit. Third is a matter of national security and safety. 9/11 happened because things were going wrong in other parts of the world, and they came here. And it absolutely impacted people in the United States of America. The idea that this has no impact on our citizens doesn't matter, just fails to recognize it is not the 19th century anymore. It is a globally connected world that impacts us. And the last argument I would make America great again. We're supposed to be the most compassionate nation. We run around the world telling everybody how great we are, how much we're better than everybody else in the world. And this amendment basically says, screw you, we don't care. We should be a great nation. We should be willing to set aside $115 million in a $14 trillion economy to help other parts of the world that are less fortunate than us. If we want to make that claim, then we ought to live up to it to at least this tiny, tiny little degree. This is a heartless, uncompassionate amendment. Please defeat it. I reserve.
The gentleman reserves. The gentlelady from Georgia is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, we're $37 trillion in debt. Fiscal year 2024 was the first year that the U.S. spent more on interest payments than on national defense. Spending on interest was more than all the money spent on veterans, education, and transportation combined. That's for America, not the rest of the world. Interest costs will keep rising, crowding out other priorities, and not only burden future generations, but cripple them. 300 Americans die every single day from drug overdoses. And in 2024, 17.6 veterans committed suicide every single day. And there were over 30,000 homeless veterans. These are American problems. These are the issues we should be spending Americans' hard-earned tax dollars on instead of shoving them off and just saying, we can't wait to give American money to the rest of the world for whatever they need. But yet we kick Americans right in the face and say, no money for you. According to the Department of Education, 85% of black students lack proficiency in mathematics and reading skills. 40% of high schools in Baltimore did not have a single student score proficiently in math in 2023. Not a single student. But we got to send another $115 million for somebody else's flood or problem or issue that because, God forbid, the government not jump in and send money to foreign countries. This is a shame, and this is hurting America. Mr. Speaker, I reserve.
The gentlelady from Georgia reserves. The gentleman from Washington is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield 1 minute to the gentlelady from California, Ms. Jacobs.
The gentlelady from California is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you. The Overseas Humanitarian Disaster and Civic Aid account empowers the U.S. to be a global first responder, advancing our humanitarian goals and strategic interests at the same time. This fund makes humanitarian responses possible that otherwise wouldn't be. It enables the quick delivery of food, water, shelter, medical supplies, and transportation during natural disasters or humanitarian crises in areas that are too hard for NGOs and other U.S. agencies to reach as quickly. That means more lives saved. This account also is used to fund the removal of dangerous landmines and other unexploded ordnance that could harm civilians, something I know the amendment sponsor has been vocal about in the past. And this fund helps showcase the U.S. military in a positive light, leading with our values and capabilities while strengthening partnerships and alliances. For example, just a few years ago, ODACA provided critical humanitarian assistance to Afghan special immigrant visa applicants after the collapse of the Afghan government. Compared to the rest of the defense budget, the ODACA's budget is modest, but its impact is huge. It yields massive returns in lives saved, crises stabilized, and partnerships strengthened. I urge my colleagues to reject this amendment.
The gentlelady from California yields back. The gentleman from Washington is recognized.
Reserve.
The gentleman from Washington reserves. The gentlelady from Georgia is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, $115 million is a lot of money, especially when our interest is bigger than our own military budget. We have a serious crisis right now, and it's our national debt. And the American people have been through unbelievable crises. Hurricanes, have been through wildfires, every kind of national disaster you can natural disaster you can imagine, but also disasters caused by our own government. And yet the people in this room are tone deaf, absolutely tone deaf. If it were up to my Democrat colleagues, they would just keep digging the hole of debt and sending all of the hard-earned money here in America overseas for every single issue there is. I'll reiterate, Americans donate more money to worldwide charities than any other country on earth. And so if Americans want to be able to check a box on their IRS tax return that says, here's some extra money I want to send over for humanitarian aid, by God, let them do it. But they shouldn't be forced to do it at gunpoint, and this body should not force them to do that. Mr. Speaker, I yield the remainder of my time.
Gentlelady yields back. The gentleman from Washington is recognized.
Thank you. I yield myself the balance of my time.
The gentleman is recognized.
There's two aspects to this. One is a budget debate. And it's fascinating. We're having this passionate debate about $115 million. And we didn't apparently have that debate when we passed the budget resolution that the sponsor of this amendment voted for that added $4 trillion to the debt. All those passionate speeches about the debt, the deficit, and its impacts, absolutely real. But how can you ignore that? Vote for the $4 trillion debt, and they're all passionate about $115 million. Also, it is not true that we do nothing for the American people. It's a somewhere around $6.5 trillion budget. There's $115 million, all right? So let's not act like we're not funding those other priorities. We are funding those other priorities. And then the second piece of this is, does this benefit the United States of America to spend this money to help the rest of the world deal with disasters? As I explained earlier, it 100% does. Would it make sense for us to do, as the gentlelady has suggested we're doing, to fund every single crisis all around the world? No, it wouldn't, and we don't. We spend $115 million to try to help the rest of the world with public health disasters and natural disasters, which does benefit us. So all of the arguments about the debt and the deficit, please don't take those seriously from a group of people who just voted for increasing the debt by $4 trillion. This is $115 million that is absolutely in the best interest of the United States of America. It will help us. Please defeat this amendment, and with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman from Washington.